a new putting gob. It's not Dan. Don't think it's Matt. Right, good evening everybody. Just a little impromptu live, which seems to be the way forward at the moment, doesn't it? This is in response today to my Instagram post. I answer people's questions on Instagram if you don't already follow me, at Crossfield Mark. So just flip the name around, at Crossfield Mark on Instagram. Hello from Minnesota. Hello Joshua. Hello Mark. Bud. Hello Paul. Here they all come. Hello James. Evening putting god. Thank you James. That is the correct way to address the putting god. So yeah, I get loads of questions asked of me on Instagram, and I try and answer them in my story, but there's some that are maybe a bit too long for the 15 seconds, and I get loads, so I thought I'd do a few tonight. So shall we kick into the first question? That is a Instagram question. Let me find it here. The first one's actually, like, this guy just wants to keep taking over my live feeds. This one's from Coach Lockie Look. There we go. Hello Coach, good evening. Let's have a see how the old chat is again before I answer. Evening Mark, come on, you don't do vids from your driving range anymore, because I do it from Torquay. It was never my driving range. Evening from Myrtle Beach. Evening Joe. Hey bro, other stuff you and the guys do, keep going. Thanks Cole. Evening Steve. How you doing Steve? I haven't spoken to you for ages. Right, so visualising shots. Who has the best visualisation? Take this out because it doubles up in me here. You have ever played with? Hashtag Muppet Tour. That's an interesting question, Matt. A hard one, actually. If you mean between us, I don't know if you mean between us, or do you mean between the pros that we've played with? Cool, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. I would say, out of us, I think we all have visualization that suits our games. So we have visualization that allows us to get round. So we obviously all see it very differently because we play very different games. So I will see a drive very different now. Matt sees a drive and Dan sees a drive different to how I am. Matt will see it, and then me and Dan some similar sometimes. Matt sees chipping maybe in a different way to how I see chipping. Out of all the tour pros I've played with, I've not seen any difference in their visualization. They've all got a very clear idea of what they're trying to achieve, like super clear. So I would say out of the Muppets, it's very standard based, but again, even if you take our standards away, often we can see what the other person is trying to do. On tour, again, really struggling to see any difference between any of them, really, Coach. But good question, Richie Brown, hi from Ireland. Hi, Richie. Ray has visualizations that he can actually hit a golf ball, then reality sets in. Dave, he's been playing all right recently. Short game has to be Coach. Hashtag Army. Mark Bennett. Yeah, he does see some chips, maybe how we wouldn't see them. And then, obviously, in turn, then he can execute them as well. But that is a good question. Should we have a look at what the next question has to offer? Let me just tee up the next question here then from, again, Instagram, at Crossfield Mark, if you don't follow me already. I do it most weeks, answer your questions. I put a topic out there maybe twice a week, and then in that day and the day after I try and answer them. These are just the overspill of those questions, if you like. Hi Mark from Scotland. Hello Darren. Mark from morning from Australia. Are you planning on a tour to Oz, or is it too far? No, we definitely think we want to get there. I got offered to go there last year, but I just couldn't get there because of timings, because it is such a long way to travel. Definitely would love to get back to Oz. I've been to Oz, got a friend who lives in Oz. Absolutely would definitely want to get back to Oz. So next question, here we go. Here's the next question. If you have two-way miss going that day, how do you focus in to visualize a shot? That is, again, another good question. The trouble with two-way miss, if you've got a two-way miss, you really need to just kind of battle through that day. I don't think you're going to win. It's going to be really hard to beat that. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to just literally, if it's 50-50 both sides and you don't know when it comes out, it's going to be pot luck if you hit target or not, isn't it? The trick is being able to manage that two-way miss. So if it does happen, can you turn one of them into a miss on the other side and then aim accordingly? Or it's a case of going and having a lesson, getting out there, or getting off the course as quick as possible. So finish your round, get to the range, go and get a lesson, and work on one-way miss. Basically, two-way miss, and you don't know how it comes or when it's going to come. And Rory's a bit like that. He has a two-way miss, and when we don't know when it's going to come, and if we're giving him any advice of where to aim, literally sometimes it is a little bit like, no idea where to aim. That's too hard a question because you've got a two-way miss, so it could go absolutely anywhere. But again, that is a very good question. I like that one. That was who struggles from a two-way miss in the comments. Post, let me know. And if you do, if you've not tried fixing it, often with my students, what I do is I say to them, so they want to work on hitting more good shots. I say to them, your good shots are as good as anyone's, so people hit good shots. Come to Japan, your team against my team. I can't say your name. Yeah, okay, that sounds like a fun trip. Love to go to Japan. Actually, was invited to Japan with Mizuno, but I couldn't quite make it happen through dates again to go and see their forging factory. I'd love to get to Japan. Amazing place. Yeah, so Rory has that two-way miss, and obviously we don't know. Sometimes I think, well, you just aim it where you think best because you've missed two left and two right, so I haven't really got a clue where to tell you to go on this one. Two-way miss, it's more of a case of getting out there and trying to fix that two-way miss, isn't it? Right, here's the next Instagram question. But actually, before we go into it, should we have a look what the comments are saying again? Set my wrist to flat halfway back. Any quicker fix, Mark? That's good. Mark, I effing love you. Thank you, Joshua. I love you too. You'll actually hear us say to Rory, if you watch the course log that's going out now, part 2, he hits another high right kind of sky, and you hear me say to him, look, let's get your wrist angles working, Rory. Because he's getting a bit both ways, or certainly more one way, out high to the right. So it's about having those feelings that you can instigate while you're on the course as well. Right, next question. Again, this from Instagram. If you don't follow me already, at Crossfield Mark, and then you can get involved with these actually on Instagram. These are just the overspill coming out onto YouTube tonight. Does Get Up Dan visualize those low missile drives? From Ross. Yes, he does. He absolutely does. He also now is visualizing higher bomb in launching ones, and if you watch any of the reviews you do inside, he's prepared to give them a go when we're testing, and he gets it 5 yards, 10 yards more carry than me now, where he was always, I say always because we haven't been playing for that long, but when we started he was certainly behind me and then running up and past if the weather allowed, where now when he's getting his launch changed, he's actually, because he's got more speed than me, he should be carrying it further than me. It frustrates me when we play that he runs to that low ball. I think it's his desire to want to win that does that, which I get, and that's fun and it's good, but it would be nice to see him try and, like, I always want to play the best I can play. I don't care if I win or lose. Like, I would rather win. Like, I don't like losing, but I want to play a way that I feel is the best I can play given to the time I've practiced. I don't like the fact that he runs away to that really negative one, because I think he hits the high one as good as anything and he gets it out there. But he absolutely does see that lower shot, because what happens is he starts to panic if things aren't going the right way for him, and then he just runs to that low ball and he sees it. I mean, he literally sees it as out there as low. And I don't think anyone's really told him it was low. It was quite interesting when we started playing that we said, joked about how low it is, and it was almost as if he must have known it was the low side, but... And I think sometimes when we watch yourself on camera like we do so often because of editing, and sometimes I watch them back, they're filmed so far, I'll go, I want to remember what's happened so I can keep up with what the comments are talking about. You learn so much about yourself as a player by watching it back. It's very interesting, actually. Filming your rounds is a good way to try and develop your game a little bit. It does make you learn about how you manage some situations. It's interesting. Here we go. Andy Morrison in the chat says, my visualization is fantastic, my execution is not. Well, there lies the problem, isn't it? The difference between execution and then performance, execution and visualization. If they part too much, what happens is people just can't be bothered to visualize because it never comes out, so then they just do. It's about trying to learn how to visualize something that's in your bracket of ability as well, a little bit. Right, let's tee up the next question then. I've got a slightly different screen running here, so just bear with me. It's a little bit confusing. I've done that one, so we won't do that one again. On to question number 4. We've got 6 tonight. Okay, this is a very good question, actually. I do like this question. Can it be taught? Crofty 1600. Can visualization be taught? 100% it can. The journey students, I think Matt felt the same, me very much the same. What I loved about the journey, and I'm going to try and do it again, time permitting, and might structure it differently or what have you, was spending the time out on the golf course with them. It's such a different way to teach, and it taught you so much about, certainly taught me so much in such a short time, about how important it is to watch your students use the advice you're giving them in a real environment, because it was so noticeable on so many occasions how they were visualizing shots that were nowhere near what maybe they could do or should do, or they were over visualized for what they actually can do. So sometimes they would totally underplay their ability, and then sometimes they would overplay it as well, and you never knew which one would come out. So can it be taught? Absolutely. I felt like in the journey students, we did a lot of work on the course talking about how to get them to get the most out of their game with better visualizations. You know, like, look, you've carved 2 off to the right. Let's get you aiming up the left on this one because there's trouble on the right. That's visualization. If they're just seeing the same shot down the middle every time, and they're not responding to their overcut that we see inside in the studio and comes out on the course, then you're not going to get around. At the end of the day, the lessons are there to hopefully make your technique better. It allows you to hit better shots, gives you more ammo, so more weapons, being able to try and hit the draw and the fade, hit the high one, hit the low one, get control of your bad shot. But at the same time, allow you to manage your patterns, which I say quite a lot. Managing your patterns is something good players are very good at doing, and amateurs don't. They fight their patterns more than they manage them. Definitely would like to see them manage their patterns more. Let's see what the chat's saying. Hi Mark from Northern California. Hello. Need visualization for feedback. It's a brain thing. Frank Terbeek or Beck. That's a very interesting point, because visualization is, I always think, and I say this to my students, you can know if you haven't got a visualization of what you're trying to achieve, you ain't going to know if you've hit a good or bad shot, are you? So I remember playing as a young pro and as an amateur, making cuts in events, but not hitting the ball the way I want to. The people I was playing with would think, why is he being a bit grumpy? Why is he looks like he's not enjoying this? And afterwards I'd say, I don't really want to make the cut, hitting the ball the way I'm playing, because I ain't going to progress up the field. I'm just going to make the cut and just kind of stay where I am. And I don't enjoy hitting shots that I'm not seeing. It makes me feel anxious. It makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me not enjoy it as much. So I would say to them, I'd rather just go to the range and practice, see if I could work on something that makes me better for the next tournament. Oh, but you've made the cut. Yeah, but it's again, for me, it's about, I want to be able to see, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I want to feel like I've got control. And visualization is one of the big steps to understanding if you've got control or not, if you think about it. Does coach visualize the toe strike? There's the problem. No, he doesn't, but he knows it's in there, but he certainly won't look for it, obviously. Mark, can you do an updated in the bag? Yeah, I can try and do that at some point. His bag ain't changed. Might have a little bit, depending on where you are from the last one you watched. What about visualization green reading? Dara, I think that's how you spell Dara. Yeah, green reading is massive. You'll see if I'm putting how I want to, I'll tend to walk putts in, or I'll call them before they get there, because I can see exactly what I'm trying to do, where it's trying to go. I can see the line. I know what I'm trying to achieve. So absolutely, visualization on putting, massive part of hitting better putts. Right, let's see where we are now. Okay, here's a good question as well. Again, this one's coming. All of these questions are coming. They're spillover from my Instagram, at Crossfield Mark. If you don't follow me already, I do this kind of thing all the time, but in 15-second little nuggets in the stories. Obviously, just dedicating a bit of time. So some really good questions that were coming out of this one. Okay, so here you go. This is a good question. Where do you start when you are visualizing a shot? So if I take that question literally, I'll give you a few examples. I start as I'm walking to my ball. I start when I'm stood over my ball and someone else is hitting. I'm already trying to work it out. Often what people I think don't realise in our vlogs is we have to wait for the camera to get to us all the time. So the chat that you hear, which would normally be going on in my head and other players' heads, so I'm going to hit this, shall I hit that, shall I hit this club? That's happening while the other person is hitting. And then once they hit, I step in and hit. But obviously, I think some people sometimes don't get that. Obviously, Dan hits, and then whoever's got a camera's got to walk over to wherever I am, and then I want to start my discussion to tell on people what I'm doing, or we're going to have a joke about something, or we're talking about something. But all that bit it's like this on a golf course. It's like mixed. It's not happening like we do. There's Dan, there's me, there's Ray, there's Rory. As Dan's hitting, I would be doing that chat in my head there. So you're halving the time you take in, which I always think, I can't believe people don't get that. But I guess that's because people aren't doing this. They're not visualizing their shots early enough, which is obviously a problem. The other thing I used to do this a lot when I was a full-time player. If my tee time was 10:30, I would get to the tee at 10:05, and I'd want to watch two groups go off, maybe three, hit the first tee shot. Because I was always think, I want to see what's going on. What are the patterns on the first tee? I remember playing at St Pierre in a tournament. Great course in Wales. You ever get a chance to play it? Fantastic. Used to play a tour event there. You've got range up the right, which is out of bounds. And it's, you can hit it in there. It's quite close to the edge of the fairway. And I remember standing on that range and watching people hit shots and the wind just really knocking it more than you thought because it's tree line. So as soon as it got above the wind, all losing it off to right. A few of them, a couple of them, I might have watched three, went out, two, but one of them went out of bounds. And I stood on that tee and I aimed further left than I would have if I hadn't have watched them. So I was already using as much data as I could get to visualize a way of making that shot for me work. So I'm watching other people's. So before I'm hitting, I'm doing it while I'm stood behind the ball, getting ready to hit. I'm constantly on it and thinking about it, basically. That's the thing with golf. I think that's sometimes where you come off if you're playing properly so tired. It's like driving. You're constantly, well, I was when I was playing, thinking, working it out, watching, seeing any patterns, any bounces, all that one hit the green and jumped. Right, I'm going to club back here now because that green's obviously really firm and I'm going to hit it on the front and let it roll up. All those kind of things. The visualization can start, or should be starting really early, to be honest. Stephen Kenny in the chat. Mark, can we start a Parfield army? Absolutely, feel free. Love the live chats, bruh. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really enjoying them as well. I like listening to, I like trying to get into your chats. I love trying to obviously interact with the comments as well through my Instagram and other places I put them. Also, remember, if you're watching this on playback, there is a button down there. I think it's, where's my camera? It's this side, I think, where you can bring the live chat up. So even if you're watching it on the side and you can see what I'm reacting to as well. Don't be afraid to hit that. While you're down there, don't be afraid to hit the thumbs up button as well. If you like the live chats and you want to see more of them, post in the comments, let me know. Don't worry, this doesn't stop the other content. That's still coming. It's just added little bonuses for you. Do you visualize your misses? Is a question, as in misdirections, not my misses, if you like. I kind of do. I play each scenario through in my head. So I do think, right, I don't want to miss it there. So I'm seeing that. And now I think I'm going to aim this up the left, or I don't want to miss this left, so I'm going to aim this more right. So I am visualizing where it could go wrong. But when I'm stood over the ball and hit him, I'm very much visualizing more on what I'm trying to achieve, which at the same time could be not hitting it in that lake, those kind of things. So I'm kind of visualizing every outcome, but then finishing focused on the more positive. I'm going to hit it at that point, and I want it to land and bounce that way. Right, let's go into one last question before we finish in the comments as well. Let's just load this question up. This last question, this was an interesting day on Twitter today because the last question comes from the great Raymondo. So we had Coach and Raymondo in there today. Obviously a quiet day for Ray today, and maybe Matt, and they're just like floating around in my Instagram stories. So at YGT Rory, which is his name on Twitter and on Instagram. So if you want to find Rory, he plays in our videos, that's how you find him, at YGT Rory, your golf channel, YGT. Before you met me or Coach, could you visualize a human missing a fairway by 150 yards? That is a good question, Ray. I have played with people who obviously do that. I've played with some pros who have massive misses and then good shots. So yeah, I kind of have, but it still never ceases to amaze me how far offline you and Matt can hit the ball while striking it. That's the thing that really gets me giggling. Like when you strike it out the middle and you hit it like literally ridiculous offline. That's the one that gets me. Like, I can't imagine striking it well and hitting it that far offline. And we got a wave. I want to do a wave as well. Matt got all the waves yesterday. Jonathan, give us a wave, Mark. There you go, Jonathan. See, I am here. There's your wave. There you go. So yeah, Rory, I mean, I've seen it obviously, and I've played and with it and against it, those kind of things, but absolutely, you guys, when you do it, it still makes me giggle. What makes me laugh with bad shots, and it's kind of saying when I dance a chip or something like that, is when you put so much effort in, you know, you line it up, you take your grip, you're waggling around, you're doing your same routine that you normally do, and you apply all this energy, so it's a lot of force to hit the ball, and then the thing just goes so wrong. You know, it's almost the equivalent, I think, it was like a penalty taker standing up there, doing their prep, doing a funny run-up, getting there, and then literally just kicking it sideways, but not shanking it, like ripping it, turning it at the wrong angle and hitting it. I do think it makes me giggle. It lightens up my rounds. I do like it. I don't like it because you guys are failing. I just like it could be anyone. It's just funny to watch someone get something so wrong, which actually doesn't matter at the end of the day as well, which I think is funny. So there you go. Let's get into these comments before we finish tonight's little impromptu live. Thanks everyone who's watching. Hit that thumbs up button down there if you don't already. Don't be afraid to subscribe as well if you want to see more lives and more videos. If you haven't watched tonight's how to stop straightening your right leg video, do watch it. I'm really proud of it. I like it. It's something that lots of people want to talk about. I think maybe lots are getting it very, very wrong. So give the video a little watch. Let me know if it makes sense what I'm saying. Okay, what we got here? Are those head covers fixed to the wall? They're hooks. There you go. So I choose different ones. With each trip I go on, I tend to change the old Scotty head cover up. Because I love these things. They're good fun. So they're just hooked on there. My chair is very noisy. Smash the thumbs up, Jonathan. Yes. Thanks for your time, Mark. No problem, James. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Tyler. How many holes of alternate shot do you think you and Dan could play with Rory before giving up and giving back to football? Yeah, we should try and mix it up a little bit. It's all about the time, really. We will. A bit of foursomes would be quite amusing, wouldn't it? Great vid. Nothing wrong with her knee. You can teach speed and you can't. No wrong with her knee. You can't teach speed and power, Jonathan. So you've already watched the video. Thank you. Yeah, I love. Go and watch it after this one if you haven't. Once you've hit the thumbs up button at the end of this, definitely go and watch it. How long have you been playing the guitar, Brooks? So that's the last question. We're going to end on that one. I've been playing the guitar since I started teaching myself guitar when I was at secondary school, 14, 15, probably took a year or 2 years before I got it to anywhere, like it always does with that kind of thing. So from about 15 or 16, on and off as well. Not like, you know, just it's a hobby. It's like your golf. Thanks all for watching, everyone. As always, it's been a lot of fun, and we'll see you again soon. Now, again, I'm off to Tunisia next week, so there will be lives, or sorry, there won't be lives probably, but there will be daily vlogs, but I don't know when they'll come, but they will come. Just look out for them. Thanks all for watching. Have a good evening. See you soon. There's a new parting gob. It's not Dan. Don't think it's Matt.